In this lesson, we're going to be talking about the volume of a sphere. So remember, a sphere is just like a ball, okay? And so far in this chapter, we've talked about the volume of cylinders and we've talked about the volume of cones. And we saw that those were very closely related to each other. So today we're going to talk about the volume of a sphere. So the first thing we need to write down is what the formula is going to be to find the volume of a sphere. And just like with the cylinder and the cone, the formula will not be given to you on a test or on the map test when that comes. So you're going to have to make sure you have this formula memorized. So your formula for the volume of a sphere is 4/3 times pi times the radius cubed. Okay, so one thing that I want to point out of what you could do with this 4/3 is you could take 4 times pi, which remember is 3.14, times the radius cubed, and then divide all of that by 3. There's your 4/3. So either way, it's the same thing, just a little bit different way of doing it. So we're just going to jump right in and do some examples. So let's look at example number 1. So I'd take a minute and sketch that. Three-dimensional circle. And here they tell us that r equals 9 centimeters. The radius is 9. So first thing I'm going to do is write my formula. And then the only number I need to plug in is that 9, and I'm going to put it where the r is. So we have 4/3 times pi, which is 3.14, times 9 cubed. And remember, you just take this one little piece at a time. So the first thing I'm going to solve is 9 cubed. And you can pull up your calculator. We have 9 times 9 times 9. And you get 729. And then we just multiply all of this together. Okay, so I'm going to do that second way that we wrote down. I'm going to take 4 times all of this and then divide it by 3. So 4 times 3.14 times 729 equals that, and then we're going to divide that by 3. So your volume of that circle is 3052.08. And then your labeling, since this was in centimeters, your labeling would be centimeters cubed. Okay, we're going to look at the next example. Okay, here we have another sphere. This time the radius is 14. So again, first thing I'm going to do is write my equation. 4/3 times pi times the radius cubed. So we have 4/3 times pi, which is 3.14, times the radius, which is 14, cubed. So 4/3 times 3.14, and then I'm going to use my calculator to figure out what 14 cubed is. You get 2,744. Okay, and then we just multiply all of this together. So I'm going to take 4 times 3.14 times 2,744, and then divide all of that by 3. So your volume of this one, you get a great big number. We have 11,488.2, we'll just leave it at that. And again, centimeters cubed. So again, really with a sphere it's easy because there's only one number that you need to plug in. Okay, moving on to the third one. This time, with this sphere, notice the dimension they're giving us is 18. That is all the way across the center of the circle. That's your diameter. So our radius for this is going to be half of that, which would be 9. So again, I'll start out writing my formula, 4/3 pi r cubed. 4/3 times 3.14 times your radius is 9 cubed. Okay, 9 cubed we just figured out earlier was 729. And then again, I'm just going to multiply all of this together. So we have 4 times 3.14 times 729, and then divide all of that by 3. So we have 3052.08, again, just like example 1. And then our labeling this time was meters. So we'll have meters cubed since it's a volume. Okay. And then we're going to do one more example, but it's going to be a little like backwards. They'll give us the volume. We have to figure out what the radius is. So let's look at number 4. It says, what is the radius of a circle if the volume is 2,304 pi yards cubed? Okay, so again, start off with my formula, 4/3 pi r cubed. But now the answer, or the number that they give me, that's the volume. So I'm going to take this entire number, don't forget the pi, and I'm going to put it right where the v is. So 2,304 pi equals the rest of this, 4/3 times pi times the radius cubed. And then we're going to solve this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this pi. And if you notice over on the right, this is just a string of multiplication, 4/3 times pi times the radius cubed. So to get rid of anything, I'm just going to divide. Divide by pi, those cancel. Divide by pi, those cancel. So we have 2,304 equals 4/3 times the radius cubed. If I'm going to get rid of the 4/3, a couple of ways you could do it. Since it says 4/3 times r cubed, you could divide by 4/3 on each side. Or that would be the same thing as multiplying by 3/4. So those cancel. R cubed, I'm going to pull up my calculator to do this part. 2,304, and I'm going to multiply it by 3/4, which is 0.75. You get 1,728. Now, that's what the radius cubed is. So remember, I just want to know the radius. So to get rid of the cube, I need to take the cube root of 1,728, and that's going to give me the length of my radius. Now, on these calculators on your computer, you have a cube root button right here. So if I type in 1,728 and then hit that cube root button, it's going to give me my answer, which is 12. So the length of your radius is 12, and then it was measured in yards, so your radius is 12 yards. Okay, so again, you're taking a formula and plugging in the number wherever it goes. If they give you the radius, you'll put it in for the r. If they give you the volume, you'll put it in for the v and then solve it accordingly. Now your assignment for this is actually going to come out of your workbook. So if you will flip to page 178 of your workbook, that should be the 8.3 practice page, and that will be your assignment for the volume of a sphere.